Bombshell, right? That feeling when the people who hold the power, the ones who sign the checks, big checks, make the final calls, sit in the judgment seats, they are not just listening to you, they are actually amazed at how you walked through a fire that was built specifically to burn you, amazed that you are standing here, not just intact, but undeniable. And the gossip, the whispers, the lies, the social execution that was supposed to leave you isolated and broken, you are kicking all of it to the curb like it's the last week a brush. That's not a fantasy. That's a reality that's unfolding right now. But let's be honest, we need to talk about what it actually took to get here. Because the word bombshell doesn't just mean shock. It means an absolute explosion that shifts everything. So here's what's happening. You are walking into rooms right now, professional rooms, maybe even legal ones, and there is a shift in the air. People who once looked at you with suspicion, because that's what they were told to do, to buy their humor. They are looking now at you with something else. Curiosity, respect, maybe even a little awe, but it's wrapped up in professional caution because they are not supposed to show that. They are authority figures. They have protocols. They have procedures. But the thing about authority figures is that they are not robots. They have instincts. And right now, their instincts are screaming at them that something doesn't add up. The narrative they were handed about you, the one that was so carefully crafted with half-truths and outright fabrications, is starting to show cracks, big ones. And when that narrative crumbles, the whole structure of your rumor mill collapses with it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where you know you had been talked about, but you cannot prove it? You can feel the glances in the break room, the way conversations just stop a little too abruptly when you walk by. The way certain emails are just a little too pointedly vague. That's the environment of gossip. It's not just words, it's a fog. It's a low-level hum of anxiety that follows you everywhere. And it's designed to make you doubt yourself. Because the thing about gossip is, it doesn't have to be true to be effective. It just has to be persistent. That's all. It just has to be loud. And the people who spread it, they count on the fact that you will get tired, that you will retreat, that you will stay quiet and hope it blows over. They count on you shrinking. But here is the bombshell. You didn't shrink, you grew. And that growth is what's not now invisible to the people who matter most. Think about that gossip of authority figures. Who are they really? They are the ones who make decisions that affect your career, your reputation, your future. Maybe it's a board of directors and at a company where you've invested years of your life. Maybe it's a professional board that has the power to pull your credentials. Maybe it's even a legal authority where the stakes are even higher. But whoever they are not just rubber stamps. They are human beings with a lot of pressure on them. And they have been presented with a narrative that's been purposely skewed. And for a long time, they may have accepted the narrative because it was easier, because it came from a people who were loud, people who were aggressive, people who were very, very good at playing the victim while simultaneously throwing you under the bus. But here's the thing about playing the victim for too long. Eventually, your mask starts to slip. Eventually, your contradictions start to show. And these authority figures, they are not stupid. They are just busy. But once they start paying attention, once they start really looking at the evidence, the whole house of cards comes down. Let's get specific about what that gossip actually did to you. It wasn't just a few mean comments on a bad day. It was sustained. It was organized. There was a strategy behind it. And the strategy was to isolate you, to make you feel like you had no allies. So you'd eventually just give up. To make you question your own sanity because the story they were telling was so different from your lived experience. You'd walk into a meeting and see the faces of people who know you'd know for years, and they'd look through you like you were a stranger. You'd send an email and get a one-word reply from someone who used to write you poems. You'd be excluded from projects that were right in your wheelhouse. And the worst part, you couldn't defend yourself because you didn't even know exactly what was being said. You were fighting a ghost, and the ghost was winning. But then, and now something happened. Something shifted. And that shift is the part that the authority are now watching with something close to amazement. Because at some point you stopped trying to prove your innocence to the people who had already made up their minds. You just stopped trying to play their game. You started documenting. You started stepping back and looking at the pattern rather than the individual incidents. And you started trusting your own reality more than the version of reality that was being told to you. That's the moment the power dynamic changed. Because when you stop fighting shadows and start facing the light, the shadows disappear. Now the authority figures, they are watching you. They have been watching all along. They've been observing how you handle pressure. They have been absorbing how you interact with the people who are supposedly your enemies. They have been reading between the lines of every carefully worded statement. And what they have seen is a person who didn't break, a person who, when pushed, got more stable, when lied about, got more truthful, when attacked, got more gracious. That's not a common trait. In fact, it's rare enough to see genuinely awe-inspiring. But most people, when subjected kind of stress, either collapse or fight back in ways that ultimately hurt them. But you You did something else. You did the work, the hard, boring, invisible work of just staying true to yourself while everyone around you was losing their minds. And that's what they are amazed by. But let's be real. There is a reason they are amazed. It's because they expected you to fail. Not because they are bad people, but because that's what normally happens. Most people, when you take away their social standing, their friends, their good name, they are either crack or they go nuclear. They do something dramatic then that confirms the gossip. They prove the gossips right, because the gossips are counting on your reaction energy. That is a trap, real trap. It's some kind of, they can point at and say, see, we told you, but you didn't throw the punch. You did something more powerful, way more powerful. You stayed steady. And that's the bombshell. That's the thing that's rippling through the boardrooms, the chambers, the offices. The thing that has people like the judge, the board member, the CEO, the senior partner asking, wait, who is this person? And why didn't I see it sooner? Now let's talk about what this group of authority figures is actually seeing when they look at you. They are seeing someone who's disciplined, not in the military sense, but in the emotional sense. Someone who doesn't react in the moment, who doesn't send the angry email, who doesn't have the public outburst. They are seeing someone who has, in the midst of complete chaos, somehow managed to build a stable foundation. There is a stillness about you that's unsettling to your enemies and magnetic to your allies. They see someone who is on a mission, and the mission isn't revenge. The mission isn't clearing your name. The mission is just creating a reality that's so solid, so undeniable, that the gossip simply cannot survive it. You are not fighting the gossip anymore. You are rendering it irrelevant. And the distinction, that's the thing that authority figures find so impressive, because they are in the business of assessment. They assess risk, they assess potential, they assess character. And when they look at you, they see someone who is past the ultimate test of character, the test where you were stripped of everything external and had to rely on your internal compass. And your internal compass is turns out is gold, yeah. They are seeing someone who has what they call executive presence in the professional world. That indefinable quality that makes people listen when you speak, that makes people trust you even when they don't know you. And they are realizing that the gossip didn't just lie about you. It actually held you back. It held you back from being seen in the world in the way you deserve to be seen. Let's talk about what happens next, because this is where it gets really good. When you are in a situation like this, where your enemies have been running a character assassination campaign, There is a moment when the spell breaks. It's a public moment, even if it's just public to the small group of people who matter. Maybe it's a hearing, maybe it's a formal investigation, maybe it's just a meeting where the question of your character is finally definitely laid to rest. And in that moment, the authority figures are not just seeing you, they are seeing through your enemies. They are seeing the inconsistencies, the emotional fits, the lack of evidence, the contradictions in the story that's been told about you. And they are realizing they have been manipulated. They are realizing that they almost throw away someone valuable, someone very valuable, because they bought into a fiction. And that realization is a powerful motivator. They want to make you right. They want to protect you now, not because they feel guilty, but because they recognize that you are the stable, trustworthy person in an ocean of chaos. Let's be real. The gossip didn't just affect you professionally, it got personal. Your enemies tried to ruin your relationships, your reputation with your friends, your family, maybe your community. They tried to make you feel ashamed of yourself. They tried to take away your joy. And if we were being honest, some of that worked for a while. There were days when you didn't want to get out of bed. Days when the weight of being disliked, being misunderstood was so heavy you couldn't breathe. You might have even started to believe that some of it. You might have looked in the mirror and thought, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I did do something wrong. That's the insidious thing about gossip. It's not just external, it becomes internal. It becomes a voice in your head that sounds exactly like your enemies. But you pushed through. You survived. And now that survival is the foundation of something stronger. You are not the victim of gossip anymore. You are the person who overcome gossip. And those are two completely different things. The authority figures are seeing this too. Yes, they are seeing a person who's been through a war, through a fire, and come out the other side not just intact, but radiant. Because that's what happens when you face your demons and you win. There is a light that comes into your eyes. Yeah, there is a sureness in your step. There is a way you hold yourself that says, I have nothing to prove to you. I have nothing to prove to you. And that presence is so commanding that it makes people sit up and take notice. They are not just amazed by your survival. They are amazed by your transformation. They are amazed by the way you have turned a smear campaign into a showcase of your character. That's not something everyone can do. That's something only the strongest can do. And you've done it. Now let's think about the future. Because this moment, the bombshell moment, isn't just about vindication, it's about liberation. You have been carrying the weight of the gossip for a long time. And now you are putting it down. You are shaking the dust off your feet. You are taking the name that was dragged through the mud and polishing it until it shines. And those authority figures, they want to be part of that story. They want to be part of your next chapter. They're not just speaking well of you behind closed doors. They are actively looking for ways to help you. They are pulling strings you didn't even know existed. They are opening doors you thought were welded shut. Because when you have that kind of power, the power of integrity, the power of resilience, people are drawn to you. They want to stand in your light. There is a moment in every conflict where the tide turns. You might not even see it all at first. It's subtle. Maybe it's a remark someone makes in your defense that you didn't ask for. Maybe it's an invitation you get that your enemies tried to block. Maybe it's a sudden cessation of the hostilities. The attacks just stop because the attacker knows they cannot win anymore. That's the tide turning. And the authority figures, they are not just noticing that tide was turned. They are the ones who helped push it in your direction. They are the ones who looked at the evidence, at the character, at the facts, and said, enough. They've given you the validation you didn't even realize you needed. And now you are free. The liberation, it's not just about being cleared of false accusations. It's about being seen for who you really are. It's about the exhaustion of trying to prove your humanity to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And now you don't have to. You don't have to. Now the people who matter, they understand. They've seen the truth with their own eyes and they cannot unsee it. Like the first false smiles, the fake concern, the relentless undermining, it's all been exposed, and the authority figures are so impressed by your grace under fire that they are not just clearing your name, they are elevating you. They are making sure the world knows that you are not the person who gossip said you were. You are the opposite. Think about what it's going to be like when the dust settles fully. You will walk into that office, that meeting room, that space where you once felt like the intruder, and you will own it. Not in a braggy, arrogant way, but in a quiet, confident way. Because you know now that what you didn't know before, that you are powerful, that you are resilient, that you cannot be destroyed by words. And the people who try to destroy you, they are going to have to live with the fact that they failed. Not only failed, but actually helped you become stronger. Because every lie they told, every attempt to undermine you became a stepping stone. Every attack on your character was an invitation to show your true character. And your true character is, as it turns out, beautiful. Now, this isn't just about the past. This is about the present, and it's about the future. You've got a new beginning ahead of you. A new chapter where the gossip doesn't follow you because it simply cannot keep up. You've outrun it, and the authority figures are right there with you, not just watching from the sidelines, but actively helping you build the next part of your life. They are seeing you not just as a survivor of gossip, but as a pioneer of something new, someone who can rise above the fray and create something meaningful. They are talking about you in meetings, not as a cautionary tale, but as a case study in triumph. They are wondering now, how can they support you, how they can help you, how they can be part of your success. And that's a powerful feeling. And the people who tried to drag you down, they thought they were taking everything from you. They thought they were isolating you, making you irrelevant. But what they actually did was free you. Just free you. They forced you to rely on yourself, to trust yourself, to become the person you were always meant to be. They stripped away the presence, their reliance on others' opinions, and left only the bedrock of your own integrity. And when you stand on that bedrock, you are unstoppable. The authority figures see that. They see that you are not just someone who overcame a bad situation. You are someone who transformed a bad situation into a launching pad. And that's why they are amazed. That's why they are impressed. That's why they are supporting you. So let's talk about the present moment. The bombshell is dropping. The people in position of power are having conversations about you. They are looking at you, at your life, at your record, at the evidence that your enemies tried to hide or twist. And they are coming to a conclusion that's going to change everything for you. They are going to act on it. They are going to make sure the world knows the truth. And when that truth comes out, you're going to feel a lightness you haven't felt in years. You're going to feel the weight of the gossip lift off your shoulders. You're going to realize that you are not who they said you were, and you never were. You are who you always knew yourself to be: strong, capable, and true. And the gossip, the horrible relentless awful gossip that was supposed to be your undoing, it's going to look small and pitiful in their rear view mirror. You are kicking it to the curb, not just ignoring, not just surviving it, but actively, decisively putting it behind you. You are taking the lesson you learned, the strength you built, and you are turning it into a future that's brighter than anything the gossip could have imagined. They wanted you to fail. You succeed. They wanted you to shrink. You grew. They wanted you to break. And you showed them what it really means to be unbreakable.